Joining us now, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, member of the Senate Intel Committee and Homeland Security Committees. Senator, welcome to Fox News Sunday. You heard what your colleague there had to say from the other side of the aisle. I don't think anybody is excited or supportive of a, quote, war in the Middle East. So what happens next?
Yeah, certainly we're not excited about a war in the Middle East, and no one's looking for a war in the Middle East. And President Trump has made it very clear he's not trying to be able to start a war in the Middle East. He's trying to be able to protect American lives around the world. People forget there are 700,000 Americans that are in Israel right now, and they're facing an onslaught. We've had 174 attacks on American warships right off the coast of Yemen with the Iranian weapons. We've had multiple attacks on Americans in the region in Iraq just in the past few months. So we have faced a tremendous amount of inbound attacks from Iran. So I think the president's shown incredible restraint. And as for the argument that somehow Iran is a long way from a nuclear weapon, I think everybody's skipping over the International Atomic Energy Agency. Just May the 30th said that Iran is 2 days away. At that point, they said it's May the 30th. 2 days away from having their first weapons grade uranium. They also found evidence of a weapons manufacturing technology that's happening. So all of this thought about they're a long way away from it. 2 days doesn't seem like a long way away from having their first weapons grade uranium. They might have been a month away from having a dozen, but not for their first. And all it takes is having their first ready. President's been very, very clear they cannot have a nuclear weapon. In fact, that has been a bipartisan statement that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon for a very long time.
I want to play a little bit of something from Iran's foreign minister speaking a short time ago, talking about also that he's going to meet with President Vladimir Putin of Russia today. Here's what Iran's foreign minister had to say.
While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives.
Not surprising that's how the Iran foreign minister would term all of that. But what do you make now of him taking that attitude to go meet with Putin and their strategic partnership those two countries say they've got?
Yeah, right now, Putin is slaughtering the Ukrainians next door using Iranian weapons, as they have done for a very long time now through this war. And so it is not surprising that the two of them continue to be able to ally together. The challenge that we have right now is we cannot have a nuclear armed Iran. We cannot have an Iran that is the largest state sponsor of terrorism that continues to be able to develop new technologies to be able to attack their neighbors. We cannot allow them to be able to have a nuclear weapon. That has been clear. President Biden said that, but did nothing about it. President Trump has said that. President Obama said that before. This cannot be allowed. And President Trump has been the one to be able to take the strong action to say they've done one thing. They've stopped the nuclear weapons program there. And what has been very clear is in Fordo, that deep mountain, that there's no way to be able to stop it without American support. So contrary to popular statements here, to be able to say the Israelis have somehow set back the Iranians where they couldn't advance that program. Everyone's been very clear. Fordo is the location where they've been advancing their nuclear technology towards weaponization. That spot could only be taken out by American forces. The president's taken that one spot out and has said now it's time to be able to actually come to the table, because Iran for months has refused to be able to make an agreement to be able to eliminate those nuclear weapons. So we eliminate their capability for them.
So what about Senator Kane's point? And he's not the only one making it. There are others who have said that President Trump bears some responsibility for where we found ourselves because of his withdrawal from the earlier agreement and the fact that it gave Iran some autonomy with proceeding without some of the guardrails or inspections it would have had otherwise.
So they've continued to have inspections. The International Atomic Energy Agency continued to be able to have their cameras, their inspection devices, their technology that was in those locations. Iran is the one that actually took those apart several months ago. Again, we go back to President Obama that actually made this agreement that allowed over 10 years Iran to continue their nuclear technology and to have a 10-year time period until they could actually get to a bomb. President Trump stepped in and said, no, we're not going to give you 10 years time period. You can't have a bomb at all. You can't continue your nuclear work on this. So President Trump set that aside. President Biden came back and said, well, we'll negotiate again. Maybe we'll allow you to be able to have that. President Trump came back again, as the American people asked him to do, and said, you cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is not about they can't do their nuclear power. Of course they could do nuclear power, but every single country that has nuclear power, including Iran, that power is actually supplied, that uranium is supplied from the source that actually set up the actual nuclear power plant. This Iran is trying to be the only country in the world saying we're trying to only do peaceful power, but also produce their own uranium. They're also producing uranium at highly enriched levels that no other country in the world, unless they have a nuclear weapon, actually has. There's no question Iran was working towards having a nuclear weapon. That is without question. Everyone knows it that looks at the data on this. The question is, will they be allowed to be able to actually finish their work to be able to do that? President Trump said, no, you cannot do that for the security of the entire world and of American citizens living in that region.
So, of course, this quickly turned political, as these issues will. Last night, an account attributed to Congressman Sean Casten, not his official account, but one that's personal. It's not verified, but it says this. This is not about the merits of Iran's nuclear program. No president has the authority to bomb another country that does not pose an imminent threat to the U.S. without the approval of Congress. This is an unambiguous, impeachable offense. Do you think we're headed down that road again?
If Democrats get control of Congress, we are most certainly headed towards impeachment again. That has been the playbook that they've played twice on President Trump. So certainly, if they get control of Congress in this next election, they will work towards impeachment. That's their favorite play to be able to do. This is something Bernie Sanders has talked about. This is something Representative Ocasio-Cortez has talked about. This is something now that Senator Tim Kane is talking about. Not impeachment, but just we're going to find a way to be able to block the president from protecting American citizens in that region, and to be able to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon. The same country that operates Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, the Shia militias that are in Iraq that attacked American citizens, all those attacks that are on American warships that are coming through the Gulf. That same entity is the same one that's developing a nuclear weapon and chanting at the same time, death to America. That is a threat, and the president has to make a difficult decision to say, when is the moment to be able to prevent that threat from happening? The 9/11 doctrine that we came down to in America said, we are not going to wait until another country attacks us. If we know they plan and intend to attack us, we're going to stop them to be able to protect American lives. We don't want to go to war, but we're not going to allow you to attack us.
Yeah, and we'll see what their retribution turns out to be in the days, weeks, months ahead. Senator Lankford, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.